Hello, my name is Serena Pierce and I will be doing a presentation for Unit 18 of the Access to Nursing course with Doncaster College, and we'll be covering health promotion. So the contents of this presentation. First of all, we will be identifying two different health promotion campaigns and explaining how they relate to society and individuals. The two I've chosen to cover is Scroll-Free September and Your Sexual Health Matters. After this, I'll be planning my own health promotion activity, and I'll be covering my intention behind this activity, the rationale that I have used, the target group I aim to reach, and the different resources and media required, as well as the duration and timeframe of my event, plus a general evaluation plan and the inspiration behind my own activity. So what is health promotion? Health promotion is a tool for individuals or nationwide usage. It raises awareness, provides information, educates, guides, encourages and promotes choosing healthier lifestyle options. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, but some of those covered are well-being and mental health, diet, obesity and physical exercise, smoking, alcohol and drugs usage, and HIV and sexual health. So the two I've chosen are Scroll-Free September. That's the one I'll be covering first. So Scroll-Free September was created by Claire Murdoch, who is NHS England's National Mental Health Director. She's been a registered mental health nurse for 34 years and joined the NHS England in 2016. Now, what she says is that Scroll-Free September is right to highlight growing concerns that social media is contributing to increasing mental health issues among young people, and a major ramp-up of services will be needed to deal with the problems as part of the NHS 10-year plan. So although social media keeps us well connected with those around us and those far away, there have been multiple studies which indicate how excessive use of social media can negatively impact mental health and coping with difficult emotions. It has been highly linked with depression, anxiety and psychological disorders. So the target audience, as Claire Murdoch already stated, it is for young people. This is after Professor Yvonne Kelly discussed the findings in new studies which found that prolonged use of social media was particularly dangerous for young people, specifically young girls, as it is massively affecting things such as girls' self-esteem and their social groups. The Understanding Society study found that 42% of girls and 31% of boys were using social media such as Instagram and Facebook for 1 to 3 hours daily. However, among those 42 and 31%, 16% of girls and 10% of boys were using social media for well over 4 hours daily. As you can see here, the amount of data used and the amount of minutes of usage has been increasing over the years since 2016. So Scroll-Free September is aimed towards all overindulgent social media users, as it is a concern for all. However, this campaign specifically targeted and focused on the demographic of young people. So how did they spread their activity out to others? So not only did they use the BBC News to spread kind of the knowledge of it and encourage people to let go of their social media for a month, they also made magazine articles, added into newspapers, and also made their own social media accounts. The best way to target social media users is through their own social media. So they made their own Instagram, they made their own Twitter, and they even made their own Facebook. What we also have here is they use streaming services to also spread the word. This is an advert that was created. So what I'll do is I'll play this and then we'll move on.
All it is chat, 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 snap, snap, snap. Gas, man! Nah, not you, fam. Your man's not gas, man. I'm talking about them, man. Swipe right through the noise. Push out the fake news. They ain't hard. They do weeding in their nan's backyard. Yes, queen. On fleek. But fools is picking on your unique. Be bougie, be choosy. Social media ain't gonna feed ya. Your mental health is your personal wealth. Influencers like influenza can make you sick. Take your pick, but don't lose it, use it. Don't enrage, engage. You rile the youth and create the truth. Calm the anxiety, we need some social sobriety. It's time for you lot to get real.
So as you can see, this was created by the Royal Society for Public Health. So it's a very engaging advert and is specifically targeted for young people using their kind of language as well. So the success of their campaign. So these are results that we got from the RSPH in 2019. So 99% of people recommend a scroll-free September to a friend. 96% improved their relationship with social media, and so were not as dependent on it as before. 77% showed an improved mental health. 63% became more connected and aware of the world around them. 58% had improved sleep quality, and 56% of young people are likely to quit social media altogether. So overall, they reached the aims that they had. Now we're going to move on to Your Sexual Health Matters. So the Sexual Health Matters purpose and rationale. They want to raise awareness, provide information, increase prevention, protect the individuals, and protect the community, as sexual health affects all of those around us. Now, what they found is the UK's Health Security Agency found that over 4 million consultations at sexual health services increased by 8.3%, chlamydia diagnosis increased by 24.3%, and 15 to 24-year-olds were the most impacted demographic group of STIs. So that is why they want to help carry on raising that awareness. So their target audience. So the Sexual Health Matters campaign provides resources for different age groups within sexually active age range. They provide condoms by post. This includes the C card for 13 to 24-year-olds and 24-year-olds older. They provide postal emergency contraception for those over 16 and photo diagnoses for lumps, bumps and warts for anyone aged 18 or over. Now, one of the specific campaigns that they did do, they've done multiple sexual health campaigns over the years, all targeting different people, which we'll go into later. But during their winter and spring campaign, they focused on those who were struggling financially to access contraception and sexual health advice by attending food banks and charity events. It also targeted over 30s and 35s, following a trend that showed many people of this age did not think sexual health services were as much of a matter to them. So how they reach the audience. One thing they do have is a wide variety of infographics available on their website. So lots and lots of online resources. They have social media accounts of all of their own, many posters and social medias, and a lot of this can be spread out through doctors, schools, etc., etc. So the Sexual Health Matters success of their campaign. So whilst in lockdown, Whilst lockdown was happening, one of their focuses was Your Sexual Health Matters at Home. As you can see on the chart here, I've got two different charts showing. One is showing STI testing rates, and one is showing STI diagnosis rates. Now, what you can see is quite a large drop during COVID times between 2019 down to 2020. This one they saw that actually it was not being monitored. And then what you can see is diagnoses started to rise back up after 2020 and throughout 21 and 22, because people at first thought they couldn't go to doctors and things at home to get tested, so they started reaching out to get Sexual Health Matters tested at home. Now, there's been a few different ones. There was the Could It Be Chlamydia campaign, which was run in 2018. That was carried out after a recent public health report. England chlamydia and gonorrhea were listed as the most common bacterial STIs in England, and they were a priority for prevention. In 2016, 141,000 diagnoses of chlamydia and gonorrhea were made with people aged 15 to 24. Leaving STIs untreated can cause serious health issues such as pelvic inflammatory disease, swollen and painful testicles, and arthritis and infertility, and even meningitis. In February 2019, they announced the Safe Sex and Inclusive Sexual Health Service, and that was how they wanted to reach out to people who weren't able to afford to attend all of their health centres. They also had the cost of missed NHS appointments, and that is also the one where they targeted the elder generation who didn't think it was actually as important to them. And then in 2018, they also ran the Good Time Guide. This was aimed specifically for university students. It was aimed at the young people who are going university students or going on holidays, attending festivals, things such as freshers. The Good Time Guide gives some top tips, creating a plan on how to stay safe when drinking, and often signposting to other parts of the services if things don't go to plan. So that could also include family planning centres if needed, for such as morning after pills and things like that. Okay, so that is all of the sexual health matters, what I'm going to do now is just move on to my own activity plan. So my planned activity is based on obesity within children. So mine is called Small Switches for Summer. Now this campaign that I've created targets low-income families with school-aged children. So it's aimed to encourage families just to make small, convenient changes that are very impactful to their grocery shopping, so they don't seem some inconvenient. I'm not asking anybody to change their diet entirely, just make really small, simple changes, things that will barely even be noticeable. So for instance, buying a whole milk, switching that out for semi-skim milk, or if you buy just a normal pack of beans, swapping it out for the no added sugar. Same with getting whole wheat pasta instead of normal wheat. Now, one of the big myths is people say that eating healthily is expensive. Now, that is only if you are actually changing the things that you are eating. My goal is to show that you don't have to change what you are eating. You just have to change what is in that item's contents. So, for instance, even just like changing from white bread to best of both, and just including more nutritional value in meals. So the purpose, again, to encourage low-income families to make minimal but impactful changes to their grocery shopping, promote choosing healthier food options in daily grocery shopping without adding drastic changes to lifestyle, raising awareness to some of the health conditions related to high salt, high sugar and high fat content in foods, and breaking the myth that healthy diet is expensive. So the rationale. So data gathered in 2021-2022 from the National Child Measurement Programme shows 10.1% of reception-aged children were obese, and a further 12.1% were overweight. 23.4% of children approaching secondary school age were obese, and 14.3% were overweight. So as you can see on my small graph here, that kind of shows that up to 20% were overweight children, and that is affecting many children as they get older and subjecting them to much higher risks. So children living in the most deprived parts of the UK are substantially more likely to be obese. Among reception children, 6.2% of those in the least deprived areas were obese, compared to 13.6% of those in the most deprived areas. And that is why I'm focusing on those in more financial difficulty. In Year 6, 13.5% of children in the least deprived areas were obese, compared to 31.3% in the most deprived areas. And children in the most deprived areas were approximately twice as likely to be obese. Rates of severely obesity among children were around 4 times higher in the most deprived areas. So what model have I gone with? There are different belief models that you could follow, but I followed the health belief model. So what I was focusing on was perceived susceptibility, perceived severity, perceived benefits, perceived barriers, cues to action, and self-efficacy. So for susceptibility, the parents' belief of susceptibility of their children becoming obese. People know obesity is an issue. 92% of UK parents agree that childhood obesity is an issue of national importance. But out of most of these parents, only 5% actually acknowledged it as an issue for their own children. So the perceived severity, they may not realise how dangerous being obese is. So one thing I need to do to perceive that severity is to actually show them and explain to them what health issues can come through having too much salt, too much sugar and too much fat in their diets. So some examples that I put on is fats are a healthy part of a child's diet in the right proportions. However, eating too much can lead to weight gain. Children who carry fat in excess have increased risk of high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes and other medical problems. High sugar intake for children increases weight gain, which in turn increases the risk of heart disease, diabetes and some cancers, and it also causes issues for dental health. According to the British Heart Foundation, consuming too much salt in your diet raises your blood pressure and increases your risk of developing heart and circulatory diseases. Now, in regards to benefits, what parents of their children get out of changing their diet can even be just showing them how they can have better sleep patterns if they have less sugar, then their attention may actually be a little bit better. There'll be less irritability from children, and it's all just going to be about researching and finding all those different benefits to show them that. Now, as I said, one of the biggest barriers which we have in regards to parents is the myth that food is expensive, that healthy food is expensive. If I just quickly flick back to my title slide, you'll see here that I've added on, I focus on Morrison's, I've just used a general superstore which everybody uses. So on Morrison's there is 0 price change between most of the healthier options. You get some quite decent price change actually, such as changing the packaging that you've got. Although this is the carrots is the most different one to everything else that I chose, just because it's actually a bigger bag, but it requires preparation. But it's also cutting out some more of the packaging. As you can see, even changing from a full fat butter down to a light fat butter, or normal Coke down to 0 Coke, I've done the other wrong way, actually shows that they're all the same price. They're all kind of £1.45, some are actually cheaper, both 75p, both £1.40. What I'm trying to do is show that there isn't that much of a price change, and just try to ease parents into that part. In regards to cues to actions, factors that cause parents to make changes can include seeing news stories for childhood obesity, or even understanding the consequences of the health risks that you can get, such as diabetics are at risk of being amputated, things like that. And so that is where that health education needs to be given out. And for self-efficacy, this is just the parents' belief that they are easily able to make this change, which is why I'm focusing so much on not actively changing the contents of your grocery shopping, but just doing the small things. Changing something from getting the full fat one to get a low fat one. I'm not asking someone to change from full fat dairy milk to low fat vegan oat milk. That's not what I'm asking to do. That's a big change. That's a massive change in someone's diet. So I'm trying to make very subtle changes to help. I'm not asking someone to go from white bread to seeded granary bread. I'm saying just go for 50-50. That'll increase that'll lower the sugars, and it'll just increase some of the good nutrients that are included. Now, promoting and resources. So my aim will be doing workshops within schools, community groups, town halls, school assemblies, and parents' evenings. Obviously, I need to make sure that we have spaces available, maybe speakers from professional backgrounds such as dietitians and paediatricians. Media-wise, we can spread this through Instagram, Twitter, news channels, adverts, and creating a website. And we can also look at leaflets to be given out in schools, community groups, town halls, GP surgeries, supermarkets, and job centres, obviously seeing on who we can get on board to help with this activity. And here are just some general ideas, a couple of different other health promotion campaigns which we've used to show the type of infographics and media that I would like to get out there. So it's just showing the different health issues that you can have with childhood obesity, or even just ideas on what you can swap out. So my launch and duration. So the biggest issue is a lot of the food issues for these low-income families. Usually they have free school meals. So my aim is to do a preparation phase of my activity during the last half term of school, so bringing in a parents' evening, doing workshops during schools before the summer holidays start, to give them the foundation that they need, kind of be that shopping list or meal ideas, and then to implement the actual active stage of the duration of activity will be through the summer holidays. That gives a whole 6-week plan. So that is from kind of the end of July until the start of September. And what we can do is we can then follow this up with more workshops straight after the holidays, so before the next half term, and see how parents felt about this, how they engaged with it, and get everyone's feedback through surveys and questionnaires. So my general evaluation plan, also the inspiration. So the inspiration for my campaign came from the Change for Life. I did struggle understanding how you make an evaluation plan for something that hasn't been done yet. So I've focused my evaluation plan on Change for Life. So this campaign was inspired by Change for Life, a campaign that reached well over its expectations. The campaign goal was for 2,000 families to join this movement, but they got that through business strategies alone. By the end of their first year, they had well over 413,000 people who had joined. So our idea is to adopt similar marketing and media techniques to achieve similar results. So what I'm aiming for, but for Small Swaps for Summer, is to reach thousands of families across the nation to get involved. With 4.2 million children who currently live in poverty, based on the Childhood Poverty Action Group, I'd aim to get at least 5% of these families living in poverty in some capacity. So that's around 210,000 people to hopefully get involved. And to interlink most, if not all, publicly run schools, town halls, and GP surgeries in all of the most deprived areas in the UK. So my visual plan continued. So as parents, see if parents are satisfied with the campaign. Do they think that they will keep the changes implemented for the foreseeable future? That's the main goal. A survey at the end of the campaign can be used to assess this. Upon returning to schools, do the teachers notice a difference in children's health? This may not be noticeable for the short period of time though during the campaign, so that could be a bit of a barrier. That 1 6-week period might not be long enough, so it might need to be implemented multiple times throughout the year during term time holidays, Easter holidays, Christmas holidays, and then through more summer schools. What other barriers is the campaign likely to be subject to? So that could be reaching some people might actually be quite difficult. And how involved are partners? Are they likely to financially support running this campaign again? So if it was self-funded first, could we encourage supermarkets to get more involved in funding? Would the schools look at helping to funding? Would councils look at helping to get funding? And then for future possibilities, I would like to consider for my activity based on how the first one goes, would be looking at app integration. Could we get an app set up to actually could cut down on some of the workshops if needed, but could that app be a good way for parents to mark down what they have changed and give ideas to other families as well? Could it be interlinked as kind of like mums groups, dads groups, so that parents can all talk to each other or kind of say where they see kind of sales going on, things like that. And then future cooking classes kind of on TV, supported by celebrity chefs. For instance, how Jamie Oliver made school meals a really big part of his priorities. And that is my full presentation, and that is my plan for a health promotion activity campaign. Thank you very much for listening. Take care.